Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Battlefield 2042. Battlefield was an absolute fail at its initial launch. It became close to impossible to even play and enjoy this game with horrible FPS and even just a humongous amount of glitches and lag. Now fortunately for us, as you guys are able to see throughout this video, Battlefield has done an update that finally actually provided us the best quality that Battlefield should have been since day one. Now this is Battlefield 4 map. As you guys might remember, the original Battlefield 4 map, this is it. Now this is an awesome gameplay for you guys. I really hope you guys enjoy this gameplay. But today we're really gonna look and analyze the graphics throughout the gameplay. Some of the aspect of things, there still is some minor glitches here and there, specifically with the grapple, as you guys might be able to see here soon. But at the end of the day, Battlefield has come very far from its initial launch back in 2021. This isn't a Portal gameplay, this is actually an EA server gameplay, which is the official EA server for Battlefield 2042. Now, if you guys want to actually access the Portals and have a little bit more of an advanced gameplay and fun gameplay, I will highly recommend for you guys to jump into Portals. Portals are really the ultimate servers because they're actually managed by active players rather than by EA. So some of the FPS and even some of the ping may actually be lower than the official servers. I'll be doing some gameplays down the road in regards to actual Portals, but for today we're gonna be just diving into this EA servers. How you guys can actually see there is some minor glitches here and there, like I said. However, the game has come very far away from it. Now, I've been playing Battlefield Paris and Battlefield 1942, which is back in PS4, PS3, and even Xbox 360, which is the original Battlefield. This mode, which is specifically Battlefield 4, it has, honestly, it's a beautiful map. It's really a remake of the original Battlefield map. It isn't as big as the previous map, and there isn't as much destruction as the previous maps, but it's still a lot of fun, and it's still quite a bit of complexity depending on how you place yourself and which objective you actually go for. I would honestly be really curious how this map will look in Breakpoints and figuring out the different aspects of the map and whether or not they go back to the original Iraqi base, which is what Battlefield 4 was, which is, you know, the Iraqi base of the US Army versus the Iraqi forces. So I'm really excited about this because we are finally having more maps and we are finally having more of an update back to the original Battlefields. Now, this isn't the jungle ones, which obviously the jungle one reminds you a lot of Battlefield 5. This is more of the desert one, which is pretty much Battlefield 4, which is absolutely amazing. Now, I would say for them to kind of do a little bit of a different thing, which they have. A lot of the maps are actually fairly new compared to the older ones. But this remake right here is absolutely awesome, and it really reminds me of the old school Battlefield that a lot of us signed up for. Although the game's already been out for over a year now, it makes you kind of wonder, how is it that Battlefield is able to even achieve the ability to hit every single marker when Respawn, which is specifically EA, could not even support Apex, which has been out for 3 years, and the hit markers on Apex are still broken. Now, I'm not going to go on a rant on this, but I'm a humongous Apex fan as much as I am a Battlefield fan, and I still do not understand how a game so complex as such as a Battlefield has better hit markers than Apex does. At the end of the day, the destruction on this game is still pretty insane, but like I said, Portal gameplays, which I've actually seen quite a bit of videos out there, and you guys I'm sure have checked out some of them, are actually a lot better when it comes down to destruction, which makes you kind of curious how the destruction level on the EA servers are compared to the actual Portals. Why is it that the EAs have less destruction than the actual Portals? And is it because of the ping and the actual glitches and stuff like that they decided to do a little bit less? But at the end of the day, it actually doesn't make sense that a pay-to-play server, or pretty much a pay server, has better ping and better internet frame than an actual EA server, which in a general aspect of things, it just doesn't really calculate well because EA is a multi-billion-dollar company. The real question comes back down to, is it worth it now? I personally, bought this game pre-owned right off the gates, and honestly I was extremely disappointed, to the point where I didn't even play for the first 6 months until probably about 6 months later. I did a couple videos for you guys back in the beta phases and some of the things, and honestly the initial release and the beta, there was no difference at all. It looked exactly the same, it sucked the same, and it was just horrible. I even upgraded my PC to a 3090 and I was still struggling to even get more than 80 frames per per fights really. So this is why I said that now is probably the best way to play, because I'm able to actually get roughly about 150 to sometimes even 200 frames on a 3090. I'm not saying everyone's computer is going to have a 3090, but at least they have fixed some of the graphic issues. The explosions are a lot better, and the frames and stuff like that, and the fights are a lot more fun. It's not just a bunch of glitches and everybody's just freezing around. So to answer the question, to me it would say is yes. If you want a Battlefield, this is the time for you guys to actually come in and play with us and enjoy the game that it actually should have been since the beginning. Now, I'm not saying that every game is going to be like that down the road whenever they release the next Battlefield. I'm not saying that you should buy it right off the back or wait a year like everyone else does. But let's be honest, every Battlefield since Battlefield 1 has been similar to this. Battlefield 5 at the initial release was absolutely crap in the same way, in a sense which the game was so glitchy. So you needed to kind of stand by and wait a little bit until you're actually able to play, which was about 3 to 6 months later. So in this case was a whole entire year before the game actually looked the way it should have been at its initial release. So if you are interested in playing Battlefield, this is definitely the time for you to buy it. I think it's not $120 like it used to be for the actual price, but now it's probably like $40 for you guys. So it's perfect timing for you guys to enjoy Battlefield and the actual Battlefield franchise if you enjoyed that type of gameplay. One thing I forgot to mention is that now the season 1 has started, the game has gotten to the point where there is pay to win skins and things like that Battlefield has introduced. Now this would actually make you wonder whether or not Battlefield is actually, the dev is going to be promoting Battlefield 2042 more, because they did say, or they did mention in the past, that they were going to remove it from their stores, mostly because the fact that the player base on Battlefield 2042 was so much lower than Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 had about 15,000 active player, and Battlefield 2042 had roughly about 2,000 to maybe 3,000, and I'm talking about Steam numbers here, not Origin, because I cannot get those right now. But those are the numbers that were based on Steam, and so it makes you kind of wonder, with the fixing of the actual graphics, the lag, and some of the glitches that were going on in the game, whether or not players are actually going to start coming back to Battlefield 2042. Now, the skins and things like that, I have not seen too many out there really. If you have one of those skins, it's cool for you guys to see, but it doesn't really show much in the actual gameplay. So I don't know if this is another glitch or if it's just the overall looks of the game and things like that. Another issue that the actual game has, and a lot of us have noticed, is there's absolutely barely any sort of footstep sound. Now I understand there's a lot of chaotic issues like explosions and things like that are happening, but you're still supposed to hear someone that's stepping behind you, in a sense in which if somebody is sneaking in behind you and there's an explosion a few hundred feet away, you should still feel, or at least have that sort of feeling that someone is behind you. And there's absolutely none of that in this game. You won't see that too much here, but there is quite a bit of games that wish I'm sniping or anything like that, and somebody's able to sneak up behind me and I can't even hear anything from them at all. So that is one thing that Battlefield, and probably just any EA game in general, have issues with, is the footstep sound. Now another thing that people talk about a lot in this game, and like I have actually seen a lot, is the actual absence of music. Battlefield 4 was extremely well known for the music and just the intense gameplay because of the music that it had in the background. And Battlefield 2042 has some music, but it's very kind of non-existent in a sense, and you can rarely hear it. Now I'm not really complaining in regards to music, but some people do enjoy it, and I don't know if that is you. So if you do enjoy the music like Battlefield 4 had, this might particularly not be kind of enjoyable to you. Now looking at the actual weapons and a lot of the different customization in the game, that hasn't changed quite that much. However, I would say that is definitely the big difference between a lot of the other Battlefield, is the ability to be able to customize your weapon on the go. And honestly, that is probably one of my favorite features relating to this game, because it does bring in the different customization. You can actually put a different scope on depending on what range you shoot. Now in this gameplay, like you see, I'm mostly playing with the LMG. LMGs are very well maintained. It's not like Battlefield 5 where you actually have to crouch down in order for you to shoot. And that was probably my biggest disappointment about Battlefield 5 LMG, was the fact that you need to crouch down, which made you a humongous target and extremely easy for you to shoot. In this case, this is more of like a assault weapon, and it was just much easier for you to carry around. Now at this time I only see 2 of them available. I don't believe there's any more than 2, but down the road I believe that the dev will probably release more LMGs. The only downside to the weapon customization, just the weapons in general in Battlefield 2042, is this lack of weapons. Back in Battlefield 4, there was a humongous list of weapons and an infinite amount of different customization that you can do, whether it was skins or anything like that. And now in this game, you don't just earn skins, you actually have to buy them. So this is kind of like a very downside to the game, and really to me wasn't just as much of earning in a sense. Although you need to level up, and it's not like a lot of the other Battlefield that you can just buy the packs and you get all the weapons. In this case, you need to level up in order for you to get unlocking certain weapons. In this case, that is quite a bit of fairness to the game, but at the same time it kind of makes you wonder, the people that have been playing since day one, what sort of customization, what sort of weapons they have available that you might, be facing in a sense. Now, the LMGs and the SMGs, the difference is just rate of fire, obviously, and the ammo count. To me, the LMGs are a lot better for long range / mid range, and SMGs obviously going to be for short range burst. So in a one-on-one fight at a close range, SMGs are going to win, and LMGs are going to win at long range. But at the end of the day, the gun recoil in this game has actually quite a bit increased compared to the Battlefield 2040, compared to the Battlefield 5, even the Battlefield 4. Now the gun control has, like with the weapon recoil, has kind of been a thing that started mostly with the BRs games and stuff like that. I'm not a humongous fan for it. I'm very neutral when it comes down to the actual gun control, because it is fairly controllable when it comes down to mouse and keyboard. But on the actual controller, it might be more difficult for you guys. So it really comes down to how you're able and how much time you spend on the game in order for you to actually control the gun recoil at a long distance. Which it makes quite a bit of sense, specifically if I'm shooting the LMG from across the map. You don't want every single shot to hit. So it's just one of those things. Some of the other issues with the actual sound of the game is the actual gunshots. Now, you can barely tell the difference between someone having a silencer and someone not having a silencer. In some cases, a lot of the time I choose to actually have a silencer on, but really you don't really tell much of the difference. So unless you're shooting a sniper rifle from across the map, it really does not make much of a difference. Even if you're playing sniper, there's no point of you even hiding across the map, because now that you have that little glare on you, so it just pinpoints you right off the back. In conclusion, let's look at the pros and cons of Battlefield 2042. On the pros aspect of things, Battlefield 2042 actual weapon customization has bring something different from all the other Battlefield, and actually has given kind of you a little bit of a stepping stone from the Battlefield franchise. Some of the other positive aspect of the game is that the Battlefield actually finally decided to fix all, or if not most, of the bugs and glitches with the game. You're able to see people running at full time, you're able to kind of prevent some of the lag and glitches within the game, and you're actually able to have higher FPS. Now, if you do have a 10 or even below a series cards, you might not even get higher than 10 FPS, or I'm sorry, 60 FPS. But if you have an Xbox Series X or PS5, and even anywhere in the 30s or even high-end 20 series, you should be able to get anywhere between 60 to 120 FPS. So that is kind of a little bit of a pro. It really depends on what sort of TV or actual screen you have. But at the end of the day, Battlefield looks so much better than it actually did when it was initially released. Most of the cons aspect of the game is really just the sound aspect, when it comes down to the lack of footsteps, the lack of different weapons to be able to kind of recognize the different shots and stuff like that, and really it's just kind of the overall lack of weapons. There's not that many weapons in this game. It's already been out for over a year. Battlefield 4 had a humongous variety of weapon. In this case, Battlefield 2042 really has about 4 weapons per class, and in most cases you can even edit any sort of the classes. You just go in and you go in whatever class and you can edit it. That's it. So there's no general aspect. There's no point of going sniper or medic or any other stuff, because at the end of the day you can have meta gear in any sort of general classes. So honestly, to my opinion, they should just delete that aspect of the game, because there's no point of having a general classes and just being able to customize your character as much as you want. So that is probably just kind of a con slash pro. It just comes down to whatever show's decisions they decide to make. The other aspect of it is the lack of destruction on the game. Like I said, this is an EA server. As you guys see, there's very much a lack of destruction when it comes down to the actual buildings. Whether the tanks shoot at it or not, or tanks drive through it, Battlefield 4, you're able to just completely take down the entire building. In this case, they don't actually take down any sort of buildings. If they do, it's very minimal, unless you're playing Portal, and even so, some Portal servers are pretty much dead. Because most people now decide to actually play the EA servers. I know I mentioned the Portal servers in the past quite a bit throughout this video because they are a lot of fun, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to you have to find the proper server and the right server, which is, you know, very minimum compared to the actual player status in this game. Another actual con to the game is still the price points on the game. Although the game has very minimum sort of weapon customization, or even weapons in general, the price tags on some of the weapon skins and even any sort of skins in general is still ridiculously high. And even just for the seasons and stuff like that, it makes you wonder, with the lack of map and the lack of weapons, why are people willing to, you know, spend all that money on weapon customization and all those things if it's just going to be on one weapon that everyone has? So at the end of the day, it really comes down to the dev should probably update the actual weapons classes and really update the skins and stuff like that, and give people kind of a lower aspect. Now the game, I think in most cases, are worth anywhere between $40 to $70 still, depending on which country you're in and things like that. But at the end of the day, it kind of makes you wonder, is it actually worth that price? And in my opinion, in most cases, the answer is no, because Battlefield 2042 actually doesn't even have a campaign, which is one of the reasons why a lot of us purchase this, being able to actually play all the campaigns in one single game. And that was supposed to be what Portal was, which pretty much being able to play all the original maps along with multiplayer gameplay, but ended up actually dying on us. So let's just kind of hope for the best. So as of right now, if my opinion is whether or not it is valuable for you to buy, if you enjoy the Battlefield franchise and you're trying to upgrade the weapon as you go, this is the right time for you to buy. But if you're looking at potentially making this an extremely long-term game for you guys and you really want it to be the super successful, this might not be the game for you, because you may as well just wait for the next Battlefield, which is probably going to be out here in a year anyway. So it really kind of makes you curious whether or not you want to wait an entire year for this game to be fixed completely, or whether or not you may as well wait for the next Battlefield. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video until this very end, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to the video. I enjoy every single one of you guys that have been watching my videos. I'm really thankful for you all. You guys' support has been absolutely amazing. You guys have been killing it out there. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm not sponsored by EA or anyone like this. This is honest review, so let me know in the comment section if you agree or disagree with what I have to say. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and enjoy the rest of the gameplay.
Allied troops targeting Bravo 1.
Man down! Friendly down! Assault that objective now!
We'll monitor you from here.
Enemy low on my marker! 70 degrees! Long distance!
Russians are attacking one of our objectives. Bravo has been secured. Most sectors are now under our control.
Take control of the marked objective.
Tag a few for us.
It's flying! Going for it! Grenade thrown!
We've got troops going for Bravo 1. This could be the final wave. Russians are short-handed.
We've been pushed out of Bravo 2.
We've lost an objective to the enemy.
Grenade!
Marker set! Get moving!
Bravo 1 under assault by Allied forces. Our forces control most sectors.
Russians are retreating. Spectacular work out there.